Good afternoon, good evening, and maybe good night. My name's Dean Clayton, and welcome to SmaxTember. In our session today, I am very pleased and happy to introduce Anabel from SAGGA, one of our partners within Latin America that does a lot of work around Smax, who's going to give us a presentation about what they do and what they've done around implementations and their best practices. So, Annabelle, are you there? Are you ready to get started?
Yes, hi Dan.
Hi.
Thank you.
Okay, not a problem. Right, all over to you. And say if there's any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. If we got time, we'll pick them up after Annabelle's done a presentation. Okay, all yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining with us today. We want to share with you, based on our experience in a real use case, best practices. I don't know, sorry. Best practices that we have applied during an implementation of SMAX. During this session, we are going to know a little bit more about our company, the best practices that we have applied during an implementation of SMAX, and at the end, we are going to have a time to answer all your questions. So let's go. Smart practices lead to better results. Let's start to share with you some information about our company. SAGGA, it's an Ecuadorian company established in 2014. Nevertheless, with a team with more than 20 years working in technology solutions. We have experience on enterprise solution management, automation, application lifecycle management, analytics, and security. We understand the importance of innovation, agile, and we work together with our customers to get successful results by using the highest quality standards. We have presence in Ecuador, Costa Rica, and USA, and our staff have worked in multiple services and consulting successfully projects in different industries such as banking and finance, education, health, manufacturing, oil, and technology. So about me, well, I am Anabel Bustos. I am a ITSM consultant at SAGGA company from Ecuador, and I have worked in the implementation of some projects to improve and optimize their services. So let's start to talk a little bit more about some of the best practices that we have used based on our experiences and that can give us successful results. We are going to share with you, based on our experiences, a real use case related to one of the biggest company of oil in Ecuador with about 1,000 of employees. Before, this company used to work with the old version of Service Manager 9.3, working under traditional ITSMs that only delivering technology services and was used only for TE employees. We become that, and now we were able to successfully reach to an enterprise service manager by delivering value to their business with the implementation of SMAX under best practices. And what we got from this? Increase user satisfaction, increase the productivity on the time in management and execution of their activities, enhance monitor and control of their activities. Also, we can have an easily scaling of the solution with new services, configuration, and also infrastructure. Using this best practice, we can involve new business areas to manage all their services in SMAX. Talking about the best practices, we will focus on 4 points. One, we are going to talk about best practices that we use to implement in SMAX and based on our experience has give us successful results. We are going to talk about the key factors that must be taken during the definition and implementation of SMAX. How we have to work in an agile way, working in order to have a minimum valuable product and give an understanding about customer interest and getting an early feedback, which is important to have resolve problems so fast. Change of mind, because we can change the way of think about SMAX. We will talk about how SMAX became a solution for all their business services. And now it's an enterprise service management solution. But before implementing, we have to consider that it's important to carry out of homologation of concepts with a customer in order for them to understand all the benefits of having enterprise service management solution and understand what is the scope of the process or their services that will be enabled. With the access management process, we introduce the key concepts of ITL for ITSM. Also, we acquire a common language with a client in accordance with ITL and all the definitions of ITSM. We discover here the importance of implementing process on the best practice in the organization in together with the client. We understand with a client the life cycle of the services and how the process are linked and integrated. And finally, with all this roadmap, we have all the information to get a catalog that includes services, groups, and all the information that we need to implement a good SMAX solution. Some of the best practices that we think that it's important to consider during an implementation of SMAX is that we have to consider or focus on services that really add value to their customers, because we have noticed that some clients just deliver services that are not used anymore on their catalog or are not used for their customers. Also, it is very important to define clear offerings in order the client has an easily understanding of what they got. This is really important because with a clear service request, the user can use very easy any of our offerings and has all the information that they need to use our services. Make standard configurations, it's also very important because it allows in a minimum time easy administration and growth of areas, services, and offerings. Define all groups, approvals that are going to be related to our offerings. Also, define what are the SLAs or OAS that are going to be related to our offerings. And maybe define those task plans that will help you to improve the manual tasks or the operations that coordinators or users has when are assigning tickets on SPACs. Defining what are the attributes or the user options that our offerings will have. And one of interesting point that we have noticed that it is important to set in a campaign of expectations because it introduces the client of what they will have doing an implementation or having an implementation of SMAX on their organization. Also, it is very important to define key indicators in order to have all the control about the services that are given. But how we do it with SMAX? We enhancing monitor and control using dashboards that are on this version to measure the compliance of SLAs of tickets and scheduling also reports with relevant information to follow up. That information is sent by email daily, weekly, or monthly, depending on the time analysis the manager wants. And this is helpful because there are some majors that uh, have the reports and the information on the email with all the relevant information related to the compliance of their services. Also, we can detecting if tickets related to a major priority or a relevant services are not being managed in a period of time. We automate notifications that are sent after any period of time. If a ticket has not been assigned or don't has any categorization of it's not attended. But how we can do it? I'm going to show you a little quick on SMAX. So can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see screen.
Okay, so on SMAX, we have implemented some automate notifications in order to make a tracking of that tickets that maybe the users don't make an assign, don't make a categorization, or don't have any attendance. Okay, so how we do it or how we manage that? We automate some rules to schedule notifications that are delivered in a period of time. Okay, and for example, in this case, you receive a notification in the case that some ticket has no interaction or has not any assignment or categorization. And that's a way how the managers can have control of how is the attendance of their services. Yeah, and this is the kind of notifications that user receives automatically after that period of time in order to have the control of the attendance of the tickets. Also, we increase the user satisfaction. We think that it's really important to make intense on the robot because it helps to the user to make easy and fast register of requests. What have done here? We have configured intents of the most popular offerings so the robot can easily help to the customer to create their own requests. Based on the surveys, we have defined short surveys with striking icons to know how it's the customer satisfaction regarding the service provided. It is better that this service must be quite simple to have a high level of response of the customers. Also, we have increasing the satisfaction of the users having an interactive knowledge base with articles that include images or videos that are useful to the client and not just a plain text. It is really helpful to promote the use of knowledge base on the organizations because we change Asmax just not a solution to make a ticket. We becomes also Asmax a solution where the user can find some important information related to their organization. As you see on this example, we have uploaded some manuals, videos related to ASMAX and related to the services of the client that are helpful to the knowledge base. Increase productivity. At this point, we have made some configurations to automate tasks in order to delegate activities to be carried out by different groups. These tasks are configured directly in the offering, so each task is delivered automatically to each group. And also, this optimizes the management time. One of the other ways that we have increased the productivity is to configure flows on task plans with automate tasks that make the assignment of groups based on conditions such as location, services, type of offerings, or others, or also make an actions on the request. So it is helpful because we can optimize the time of the operators. Okay, so how we do it on SMAX? We have seen, as you see, here we have a request where we have a flow that is defined with some automated tasks based on some rules, based on the type of on the type of management that this request has. The automation task is enabled. And this helps us to optimize the time of the operators and configure and automate assignment of the groups during the management of S. How do we do, how we do it with SMAX related on the easiest scaling. Based on this real use case, the customer had to join with another oil company, and the infrastructure had to be scaled to support the user load, the new services. So what we decide, we just upload or increase more workers. Yes, and this adding of extra workers was to support all the load without generating long deployment or reconfiguration times. This allows us to have a quick scale. That's why this is also a very important factor that we have during during implementations, because even when the client grows, we can scale quickly our infrastructure and services. Increase areas. On SMAX, as I told you before, it's now used to add all services of all areas across the company. So we will find services related to human resources, contracts, ET services that users has now on their service catalog. We're going to talk right now about some key factors that we think must be considered during an implementation of SMAX. We have three actors: client, supplier, and organization. We think that all these actors must work together to achieve a common goal, which is an ESM solution. The transfer of knowledge to the client is really important because the client will have the enhance to increase new services, new offerings in their catalog. But how he will do it easily? By using standard configurations. So it is very important at the beginning of the process that we define the roadmap, focus on standard configurations to have an easy administration, service update, and approval management that can be very easy to manage for the users in the middle time. And management standard configurations also will help us to have an scalability in the short and the long term. As I told you, in this case, we have to join two companies. And due to we have worked on homologation of concepts, assessment of process, keeping on service value, and standard configurations, we can scale it without problems. Having our standard configurations that help us to achieve that goal. Thinking in an agile way, we have to think or we have to consider that every project that we work on SMAX must be configured in a minimum value product, and we have to involve the customer in the product review. Can be an offering, can be look and feel, document, task, plans. This in order to have an early feedback of our configurations. Also, as I told you, it's really important to have a standard configuration because it will help you in the meantime to have an easy administrator. We have used some groups, for example, to manage approval tasks that will help the user to add more approval tasks on their offerings without the need of burning some values directly on the offerings. This standard configuration help the users to increase services and offering more easily. Nowadays, the users are independent because of all this configuration, this standard configuration, this assessment, the knowledge that we give to the client and the empowerment that we gave to the client, he can nowadays can configure more offerings, more rules based on the standard configurations that help them to increase the areas that has their catalog. Also, it is important to not wait that all process configured to release them. For example, if you are configuring, I don't know, incidents, requests, change management, it is important to make some faster interacts with the user in order to have the feedback can, and can solve the problems or necessary change to improve the process. We think that it's really important to focus on those steps to get the change of mind of the client. We can deliver services across the organization by giving them a solution that is standard, that is based on the best practices, and that is not considered anymore an ET tool. This standard configuration deliver an easy configuration for the client to help them to increase in more areas and services, and also to have an ESM, an enterprise solution management with SMAX. Yep. Dan, I don't know if you have questions.
Hi, Annabelle. Just quickly checking. No, we've had no questions come through relevant what you've presented. So thank you for everything that you've presented so far. I can see you've switched to the your slide with your company details. That's great. So thank you again. I think it's a really good presentation and going through some best practices and things that you guys do for your region. And with that, we'll close today's session. And we'll see you on the next SmaxTember one. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Annabelle.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.